Early in 2013, many footballers and badminton players from the deaf community here in Ireland strove for a chance to compete at the 2013 Deaf Olympics in Sofia. After immense personal sacrifice and grueling training regime, they travelled to Bulgaria to represent Ireland. This is their story.
As part of my job in Newcastle United, I work on the disability project, so I'm fully aware what the impact of sport and football obviously has on people with a hearing impairment. The game offers so much wonderful opportunities to see places in the world that they probably would never visit, and that's just down to football.
I started training with the Ireland team a few months ago. I can't remember the exact date. It was around February or March. I started off one day a week, and it was a Sunday. Then about 3 or 4 months ago, we started including Saturday and Sunday training. Then this month, July, we started training every day from 8 or 9 in the morning. I'd go to badminton before I'd start work, and then again in the evening. So I trained all the way up. Ladies and gentlemen, as President of Deaf Sports Ireland, I'm delighted to welcome you all to the launch of the Irish Deaf Olympian team. So, you can see that we have 3 players here today over on my left hand side. And we are very happy to have our guest here, Michael Ring, Minister for Tourism and Sport.
Sport is so important in this country. You can see today the athletes that are going abroad representing us in the Olympics. And the one thing that has lifted this country in the last 4 to 5 years has been sport. They're going to represent their country, they're going to represent their province and their town and their family, and they're going to give off their best. And I'm very proud of them.
Deaf Sports Ireland is a national governing body for the deaf and hard of hearing people in Ireland, and it's funded by the Irish Sports Council. Its aim is to promote the social community of the deaf and hard of hearing. We cover all different levels from club, national and international. We encourage a lot of deaf athletes to get involved and encourage them to play sports. It also builds their confidence as an individual and improves their quality of life when they're involved in deaf sports. It had a big impact for me. When children are involved in sport, you can see them linking in with each other in a social setting. For example, DVI is a social setting where we meet other people. It's a place where we can interact with each other. You know, when you're outside in mainstream clubs and everybody's chit-chatting, then when you meet another deaf person, we can talk in our own language. We socialise with sport and outside sport. The Deaf Olympics isn't worldwide when it comes to awareness and media. That's the problem we have, compared to the Paralympics. They had a big media coverage in London in 2012 compared to us. Did you know that the Deaf Olympics is the oldest Olympics beside the Hearing Olympics? And the third is the Paralympics. And they get a wider media coverage than the Deaf Olympics. But for the last 2 years we have been working on that, building a relationship with the international committee around the world. It's true, our athletes work 110%. They are really committed and they prepare for Bulgaria for the Olympics. Some of them are full-time workers with family and they are willing to give up their hours to focus on their training. They give everything for their preparation for the Olympics in Sofia.
They've given so much to preparing and just the sacrifices that even if their families have had to make and the support that they've received from so many friends and family. I'll use Shane Keogh as an example. So Shane is getting up at 5:30 in the morning, getting his breakfast and driving an hour and a half to be ready for his training, and he was doing this Monday to Friday. Phenomenal commitment. Then, having finished training at around about 9:45, he would go off and do a full day's work with his company, with his organisation, then driving back home to Wexford and repeating the cycle in the morning, and this wouldn't be done without the support of family, and so I take my hats off to the athletes.
When I looked at the timetable for training, I realised it was a lot of commitment and it would take a lot of my time. I trained really well, but at the same time it did affect my relationship with my fiancée because I was playing a lot of badminton. I have to say it is my passion and my love, and I need to train. I had to get into the motivation and I had to get into the spirit of things because I have a passion for badminton.
6 month training we're doing Saturdays and Sundays every week until July, and then July we were playing every day, every morning between 8 and 10.
Well, first thing is you need to get a hearing test on your best ear, left or right. You must have 55 decibels or over. For example, if you go for a hearing test in both ears and your results are 100% decibels in the left ear and the right ear you have 78 decibels, you go on the better ear.
This is the ear clinic at 78 Eccles Street. We're a full diagnostic centre. We have international standard facilities which include test rooms and test equipment. We would test a range of different ages, from children to adults. Typically a hearing test is done in a soundproof room and with some earphones. And when you have a hearing test done, you simply press a button every time that you hear a sound. The result of that is that we're able to map the faintest sounds somebody can hear for a range of different tones. Typically the athletes would have an audiogram conducted. An audiogram is a measure of hearing. It looks at the loudness of sound and the pitch of sound, and that is averaged. It's very important to get the hearing tested. Hearing continuously reduces with age, so even from our teenage years right through to our 20s and 30s, we're continuously losing our range of hearing. Earshot was established to help people access the small items that make a big difference to their hearing instruments. So for example, it's possible to buy cleaning tools or adapters that stream music into your devices, remote controls, and it's also possible to buy a range of different ear protection.
And then when you get the results, we give it to DSI. We send it off to ISC so they can approve it. And when they approve it, they send it back to us and give us your ID number. And then you're involved and you can represent Ireland in the Olympics.
A lot of the guys have had the opportunity to play in the Deaf Olympics. They mentioned Australia, Taipei, a lot of exotic places. This is my first Deaf Olympics, so I'm thoroughly looking forward to Bulgaria and all it has to offer.
Bulgaria took this on at short notice, and they are not in the best of shape economically in Bulgaria, as you know, and it's a big undertaking for them, but certainly they have the facilities. They're not palatial facilities, but they'll get the job done, and I think it'll be to the credit of the country. It's going through difficult times, but I think they've made the right decision to step forward. All the best to our athletes. We know that your presence here will do the country good. We just hope that you get something out of it yourself and record some personal successes and triumphs, and we'll cheer you on.
It felt a bit emotional. I felt really proud to see the Irish athletes representing Ireland, to be involved in the Deaf Olympics. Also to be beside many different countries. It was a great feeling and brilliant to see. It was an honour for our country.
We were at the opening ceremony last night and it was quite an experience. It was loud, it was colourful. To be honest, one of the things I saw, there were lots of, I noticed guys in sort of stilts hopping around, and I've never done that, and I was going, you know something, I would like to try that. I'd like to jump on those stilts. There was just energy and a real good atmosphere generated at the opening ceremony, and credit to the organisers, quite a highlight.
When I was looking at everybody in the stadium, it felt like I was watching it on TV, but I was there, I was in it, like a real confusing state of mind, and I was there, a real big experience. The atmosphere was amazing. All eyes were on us, just giving a wave for your country. It was amazing.
For Shane Keogh, who was the flag bearer, I knew that meant a lot to Shane to carry the Irish flag into the opening ceremony. It's a once-in-a-lifetime moment. He had a smile on his face for an hour afterwards.
The opening ceremony, it was a real honour to be asked to carry the flag. When we went into the ceremony, the vibe, the atmosphere in the stadium, you know, all the people in the stadium just really excited about the opening ceremony. It was just a great feeling and a wonderful experience. I met loads of different people from different countries, and they were asking, oh, what sport are you playing? It was a great interaction and a great feeling. And yes, of course, I'm really proud to represent Ireland. I'm proud for the Irish and for the Irish spirit. The experience of the opening ceremony with other athletes, coaches and managers was fantastic. We all have the same culture. The deaf and the hard of hearing have the same experience. And to be involved in sports is just an added bonus. I've met loads of friends, old friends, new friends, and at the end of the closing ceremony we exchanged Facebook, Twitter and email addresses so we could keep in touch. And now that I've got home from Bulgaria, I still keep in touch with a few people that I've met in Sofia. The torch was passed on. I love the feeling I got. The hairs on my arms stood up, and I passed it on. It was actually really nice to see the flame in the torch. It was a great feeling. It felt, wow.
Our first match was against Nigeria. I think for most of us we were actually very, very nervous, even though it's my fourth Olympic game. I was actually very nervous before the match today with the meeting because I think it was the unknown. None of us had actually ever played against Nigeria before. We had no idea how good or how bad they would be. Before the match, we were in the changing room, and we all were topless, and we wouldn't put the jersey on until we were ready to. Are we all in this together? I'm going to win. Who are we? We're Ireland. And we put the jersey on, and just you get goosebumps all over your neck, and it's a wonderful feeling. And that's why I can't. The first 10 minutes we were kind of playing cat and mouse. We weren't sure what was going to happen. And we got that first goal with Joe Watson. Scored the first goal. Oh, I just feel a sense of relief. We knew we were going to win it. We were going to win it. I just knew we were going to win it. That amount of confidence in my boy that we were going to win it.
Started off, we wanted 3 points. We've achieved that, and then we moved on today to Russia, which was a different kettle of fish. Matches between Russia and Ireland in the past have always been tight, and we expected the same today. We knew there wasn't going to be many goals in it. Again, we have probably one of the best goalkeepers in the tournament. That's how we came out with a 0-0 draw.
When we arrived, we seen that the badminton level was quite high, but we were really hopeful to get the luck of the draw, and obviously to progress throughout the competition. But we got a bad draw. Their spirits were kept though, and they went on to do their best to represent Ireland.
I would guess we were playing in 28, 30 degrees centigrade today. Something the Irish athletes aren't used to, and we cannot replicate.
It's difficult to get adapted to with the heat and with the lights and everything, and the speed of the shuttle. Like compared to at home, we hit them a lot harder. Here you don't have to hit them hard unless you want to smash down.
We came up against a very good Chinese pair, and you would probably guess they won't be too far away from a medal, possibly even a gold medal. I think it was noted by some of the other countries, the improvement in our players since Taiwan in 2009. But unfortunately, as everything in the world, all the other countries' levels are stepping up, and so it's just fearsomely competitive.
Inside I was a little bit nervous. Usually I don't get nervous, but for the first time I was a bit nervous, because you know, the Asian side, they're really good at badminton. So then when I started playing, we had good relay, good defence, good tackle, and it was good to see the level. And it was good to see that Hong Kong were getting nervous, but obviously they won the first set. I think they were ahead 5 or 6 points, and then it was the same for the second set. The same kind of story. They changed their style by asking their coach, so I think that's really how they won their second set. But I thought it was a really good match, and a great feeling, and the standard was really gone high. I done really well. I arrived and was full of confidence. I felt really good. And I saw the opponent and both really confident. When I started off, I'd say he was a little bit nervous, so we were both well matched. We were playing really, really well, and the standard was going higher and higher. It was going up above the norm, so I tried to catch up, but he won. But the standard was really high, and we did well. But then in the second game, there was a few little minor mistakes, and I was trying harder and harder to follow up. But I lost the 2 sets and Hong Kong won. But overall, Ireland done really well for our standard in the doubles. I learned from the experience, and Mark Topping has told me, look at the opponent. And Mark Topping always said, you know, focus. Don't look at the player. Look at the shuttle. Don't look at their tactics. Make sure your eye is on the shuttle, to relax yourself and focus on the shuttle. It helps you to ignore their footwork, and it helps you to stay focused, so I don't get nervous.
I'm very pleased with the team's progress so far. We were drawn in a difficult group with European champions Russia and Japan, Nigeria, only the top 2 qualifying. But we prepared very well for the tournament, and all the hard work has paid off. And I can't fault the commitment and the dedication from the players. They've done everything that we've asked of them. We've beaten Nigeria, we've beaten Japan, very creditable draw against Russia, so I'm very, very pleased.
drama after drama throughout that match. I've never seen how much effort our players have put in that competition, especially against Egypt, you know, in that weather. We were 3-1 down with 10 minutes ago. We fought back, got 2 goals. Last minute, a wonder goal from Andy Wynn, got it back into the game in CR, extra time. Came into it, we were on top of them. Egypt were kind of nervous throughout the extra time, but the defensive goalkeeping error, second half into the extra time, they got the goal. But we never gave up. In the end, unfortunately, Egypt have won, and they beat us 4-3 after extra time. It was devastating. It was heartening to see our players, you know, putting in a lot of effort, trying to get back into the game. But unfortunately, you know, it wasn't our day.
First singles match was against Russia. I met him before. I'd lost to him, so we met again and we shook hands. We were just warming up. During the warm-up I felt really comfortable and confident, and then I said I was ready. I actually enjoyed the warm-up. It was a lovely interaction and the relay was beautiful and I was really happy. I gave a really hard game. We were struggling, but we lost 2 sets. Even though we lost 2 sets, it was the best badminton matches I've played in the past 20 years.
Brilliant performance today. We had a win today from Aidan Connor against a Hong Kong chap. Absolutely superb performance from Aidan, very controlled, with aggression. He changed his tactics considerably from the first couple of days, where he started attacking and using his strengths of hitting down hard and getting to the net quickly.
Enjoyed the match today. I felt a lot more comfortable on court. It was a lot more in control. It was a tough game. I won the final score 21-16. I felt fantastic, to be honest. It was hard work. Like I was saying before, the standard is very, very high. It was hard work, but it was just a great feeling to win.
I'm delighted with all our players. I think 1 or 2 poorish matches, but out of the 11 or 12 matches that we played, I have to say all our players played pretty close to what they're capable of doing.
You're doing this for your country, and it's something that's it's very inspiring. It's a great opportunity. The whole thing, the whole atmosphere, the game, the crowd, the venue, it's just a great experience.
Without any doubt, sport has a profound impact on people's lives. In many ways the Olympics has dominated their lives for the last 6 months, and in some ways they'd probably be quite glad to get back to a normal life, in inverted commas.
The impact that it has on the guys, you can see in their self-esteem, their confidence, and it's just their general well-being.
So taking part in the Deaf Olympics has really changed my life, for good. I'm positive, meeting people, training and the like, but I still have pressure from work. We sent 2 teams over to Bulgaria. We were really proud to see a badminton team and a football team represent Ireland. and play against many different countries on an international level. There were good challenges. They worked hard and they kept their fitness levels up. It was a good challenge for Olympic level. It was good for them. You know, they have their love for Ireland.